Okay, I think we're live here. I'd like to welcome everyone to Make Money Online, business ideas you can start from home. Just have a quick announcement before I introduce our speaker, Dr. Callahan. Next Tuesday, October 20th, we're going to be hosting Financial Planning in the Midst of a Crisis. And we have a financial planner and a financial coach, Scott Cole and Damian J. Carson. They'll be speaking to us about financial planning during this time of COVID. Now I'd like to introduce our speaker. He is the author of Resumes Are Worthless. He's also the director of the IEM program at UAB. He is one of those business thinkers that I sort of thinks outside the box. He's very original. I've actually attended a few of his classes, and I'm a big fan of his. So we're very lucky to have him. And I'll just turn over to Dr. Dale Callahan.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bryce. And it's good to be here, to be doing the webinar from this business library. I guess that's what you guys are part of, so over at Hoover. So I'm going to jump over here and do a screen share, and you guys keep me honest. I should be sharing. I want to actually share the correct thing. So you should be seeing now at this point a Make Money Online. Keep me honest, Bryce. Can you see that? Looks like we can. All right. Okay. So we should be seeing a screen here that says Make Money Online. And if you can't see that, if you'll let us know, comment or something like that. So let me give you a little bit of an introduction or ways to contact me. I think if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook that they're monitoring that, best I can tell. But just in case, that bottom thing there is an email address. I've got that open too. And as we get into comments, I think they're telling us at the library we're going to do comments at the end. Or questions and comments at the end. So we'll go with that. But throw them in anytime, and if we can fit them in, I guess we'll do that. I'll show you the screen here in the end also. So today, what we want to talk about is actually what it is that you are trying to do to make money online. So I'm interested. Anybody that can comment, if you have something of what you want to do. Or maybe you don't know what to do and you're trying to figure that out. I would love to hear for what that is in any way we can comment. And I'll see if I have access to see that here. Let me pull this over here out of the way so I can do that. I'm going to let you guys jump in there and say anything that you have to say, at least if you can, because I'm not sure I see everything, but we'll see that in the end. But it's always interesting to see. So I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people that are starting companies, everywhere from really tiny things to big, giant things. So I'm always interested to hear, and I hear a lot of crazy ideas. So if you think your idea is crazy, well, maybe I'll show you some that will help you out. So today, what we want to do, well, here's a little bit, as Bryce said, about me. So I am a professor of engineering at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. We run an executive master's program. And in that, one of the things I'm doing is working with professionals, and they come in and they want something extra income. They want a way out of corporate America. There's all kinds of things. So we've been doing this for many, many years now, helping them do these kind of things. I also own a business. This business right here was founded by me and my wife and our daughters. And this was kind of an accidental business, but it is online, and it's been an online e-commerce business for years, as well as there's some other elements to it that are not just e-commerce. So we've been doing this for 10 years, and I've had many coaching clients that have been doing this. And when I said many, I was trying to look up how many. So I don't know if it's like 10 or 1,000. I got no idea. It's hard to keep up after a while. But lots of people who've tried lots of different things. So what I want to talk about today, though, what I think is going to be in the space of what you're here for, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and we'll veer off if we are, but what I mean by online business. Here's an Etsy store. So an Etsy store is online business. One of the things I want to focus on today is how to get started. You can get really complicated in some of these things, and we'll show you some more complicated things, but this is something that you can start. We'll actually show you how to start that tonight if you haven't done that. Or if you look inside of our store. So this is the store that we're selling our products, and it's more complicated. It's a lot of moving parts. There's money to spend. There's stuff here that I don't really want to get into that today, unless we just need to. So I'm going to jump. And if you have any thoughts about what you're looking for, I would love to hear. And I'm just noticing in the comments, some people are saying extra money for retirement, online boutique. I don't think I said that right, but y'all can correct my English later. I can't see all the other comments. So anyway, so let's jump in here and let's focus on where to start and do some really simple things from a startup perspective. And let me do this one other thing. Let me blow this guy up here so we can see this better. Okay. So also I want to focus on starting without breaking your wallet. A lot of businesses, especially a lot of startups, one of the mistakes that we make is we outspend. You may find it interesting, the typical American business startup fees, or what it costs to start, is about $7,000. And in most of those cases, probably about $5,000 is stupid money. It's stuff you didn't have to buy. What we're going to look at today is spending no money or very little. I mean, even $1,000 is going to be big for this kind of stuff. So I hope that meets where you want to be. So there's 4 steps that we're focused on. Find an idea, find a platform, do the work, and action TNT. So I'm going to just jump right in and talk about finding the idea. So I spend a lot of time talking to people about what type of business to start, whether it's online or some other kind of business. What do I want to start? What do I want to do? So I'm asking you this question: how can you serve people with your gifts? So the skills that you have, the things that you have to do. Many of us are blind to our gifts. And then we start doing things like objections. And we have a ton of them, like, but all the good ideas are taken. But I don't have any tech skills. But I don't have anything to offer. Or I have no unique skills and ideas, meaning there's nothing totally new under the sun, and I'm trying to invent something new under the sun. So we have all these objections. Why is it so hard to find something to do, to find something to sell, find a reason for people to pay us money? Is mostly because we overthink it. So hopefully we're going to help you with overthinking it. This guy right here overthought it. I'm making fun of him, but he overthought it for a while. But here's a simple example. This is Steven, and he's in our graduate program, and we were looking at entrepreneurial activities, and we're in a group of people. We're talking, and we're creating ideas. And Steven says, "Whoops, I don't know if Steven had multiple complex ideas of how to offer consulting services to large companies. He's an engineer, this kind of thing he does. And as he was rattling off his ideas of how to make money from a business venture, he doesn't want to quit his day job. He wants side gig money, as we would call it. And he had some ideas that was kind of hard for me to wrap my head around, right? Where do we get started with this? They sounded like they were going to cost a lot of money. And then he said, well, I have one other crazy idea, but it's kind of too silly. And of course, when he said that, everybody in the group says, no, we got to hear it. Tell us your silly idea. And he starts telling us about his little girls. He has 3 little girls, and they had pitched this idea. He has 3 girls and his wife, all of them with long hair. And these little things, if you don't know what they are scrunchies. And these things go in your hair for ponytails and so forth. I'm not sure I said that right, but they go in your hair. How about that? And so he says there's constantly all over the house. I'm constantly looking for them. So my daughter was taking the scrunchies, because we were always telling her, keep up with your scrunchies, because we were having to buy new ones, and was putting them on her little stuffed animal and was telling me, Dad, we could sell these. So he thought that was idea. So everybody in the group loved this idea, and hence they started Scrunchy Pals. So we see his 3 daughters here with these little stuffed animals, and you see there's the stuffed animals with scrunchies on them. I mean, kind of a simple, crazy idea. He started this right as COVID hit us. And so he did this in Easter and sold them on, this is their Facebook page. They didn't even use anything to sell them except Facebook. And he said, I just didn't want to do anything but test the idea to see if I was nuts, just to get moving. And that was our encouragement to him. And that's really my encouragement to you too, is just get moving. So if we, they're now got, he texted me this afternoon. And so give you some scope of what he did is he spent about $100, I think, on the stuffed animals and on the scrunchie. So he buys these stuffed animals, he buys scrunchies. I think he put a Bible verse with it. And I forget what his cost of goods sold was, but he was selling them. And I'm going to think at $25, but my price range may be wrong. But they made a couple of $100, right? He's not getting rich off of this, but he got excited. And so now he's got his daughters involved in a business activity. And now they've got, I think he said $1,000 or so worth of product ready for ship on Christmas. So they're going to be doing something different. Haven't seen what those scrunchies look like. He didn't share that. It's probably a trade secret. So we'll see. So the question I have for you is, thinking about business ideas, what do you enjoy doing? What do you like to buy? What do others admire that you do? Maybe you know how to cook or woodwork or something like that. What's a simple problem that you can solve? So thinking about these kind of things, and again, if you have any of these things, throw them out in the chats or the different versions of chats that are out there. Would love to hear what we're thinking through. So that's the first step, is just come up with ideas, but don't overthink it. Because if you haven't done a business venture yet, the key is to start money rolling. It's amazing how creative you become once you start doing things. You don't think you have anything, and then you start talking to customers, and suddenly you become a creative maniac. The second thing we want to do is find a platform. So a platform is a tool you use to get the word out. So I think about this: Steve Jobs on stage, the news media, everybody shows up. That's his platform to get the message out about his new products and services. So you see him, and this is still what Tim Cook and the company does today, what a lot of companies do. News media shows up. Well, that's great, but you don't have news media. You don't have anything on a startup company. How do you get in front of somebody? So I'll even give you this hint. If you go out and create a website today, you got nothing. So you got nobody showing up. So using these tools. So if you think about Amazon, eBay's, Craigslist, and there's many, many more from these, but on these places, maybe Shopify, it doesn't quite belong in this list, but all these other places, people are showing up. And so these are places that you can get your message out, and it's going to be easier. So think about, for instance, if you are creative, crafts. So if you have some kind of anything jewelry, anything clothing, Etsy's probably a good place. It's not the only one, but it's probably the most known one. Teaching, if you have a skill that you can teach, Udemy is a good place to be. Services to offer, Fiverr or Upwork. Reseller, where you're buying stuff and reselling, Amazon.com or eBay. And teaching, there's that pay. If you're a teacher and you have stuff that other teachers can use, there's a website called Teachers Pay Teachers. I had no idea that existed, but some teachers that I know started using it and started selling products and services over that. And by the way, on the Amazon, and you may think, well, that's not where people make money. So I was coaching a guy a couple of years ago, and he had lost his job, and he was trying to find more work. And so I was trying to help him. And I ran into him in Panera Bread one day, and I said, man, hey, man, have you got a job yet? And he said, no. I felt kind of bad because, I was helping him. And he says, but you don't understand. I started selling that stuff on eBay that you and I talked about. And then I was sold more and more and more and more. And I just got back from China. Now, this was a year or so ago, so it probably didn't happen recently. But I just got back from China, and I'm now buying goods directly from China and selling them. Now, his business model has changed clearly now, but he became a big seller. And his comment to me was, I'm never going back to work. This is my job now. So he was using these two platforms, eBay and Amazon, as his store, so to speak. So why these platforms, though? They're cheap or free for the most part to get started, and no tech skills required. So they're awesome for those. So here's the best reason, though. They have the market space like we talked about. I mean, wouldn't you rather be, here's a big giant mall and you're in this little kiosk here in the middle. No matter what you are selling, there's so many people passing by, you're going to gather the attention of something. McDonald's is famous for knowing locations. They were great about finding locations. And so if McDonald's starts selling scrunchies tomorrow, they'll be the world's largest distributor of scrunchies overnight because of location and traffic. So this is what you're thinking about when you're going to Amazon or Etsy or some of these stores: locations and traffic. People are showing up, as opposed to this guy. He has a store and a business. Unfortunately, nobody's showing up. So a lot of people, what they're doing is they're just going out and creating websites, and they're hoping people show up. And hope is not a strategy. It takes a lot of work, as people will tell you, to get people to show up at your website, at your podcast, and the various things that you got to do. And it takes time, as opposed to the other, they show up overnight. So here's Trent and Madison. And so he's another guy that's a client of mine. I guess indirectly, both of them have been clients of mine. But he works for this company, Disney. It's his dream job, by the way. He wanted to be a Disney engineer, so we had something to do with helping him be a Disney engineer, and so that's awesome. Unfortunately, this is how Disney looked for a period of time over the summer, and him and his wife both worked at Disney, and they were furloughed. And he texted me and he says, I'm just figuring this is the Lord's leading me to a chance to do some kind of business. And so they started doing some things. Both of them did. So this is his garage. He is a woodworker, always likes woodworking. You see the wood back there in the background. He's always building stuff and coming up with ideas. So he thought, hey, maybe I could do some stuff and sell. Now, this wasn't online. This was, maybe I can just build some projects and sales. And he sends me a text message of this not too long ago and says, I sold this for $1,100. Now, to me, that looks like a piece of wood with 4 legs on it. And it is, but it's that aged, fresh edge lumber or whatever. So it's cool. Right. So he sold this for $1,100, and he decided, okay, this was a sign. He's also made tables and stuff like this. So if you look at what he's doing now, he's got 2 things. He's got a website and an Etsy store. So just to be, let's jump over to his Etsy. Whoops, that won't work. That will not work if I do it that way. Let's see if this will work if I do it this way. Only if I finagle the screen. All right, so let's jump over here. All right, now you should be able to see this is Etsy. So you see his store. He's just now created his store. You see he's only got 3 admirers. I'm one of them. However, he's got sales now. So some of the stuff he's selling right now is local, and he's seeing this. And so he texted me earlier today and said he's got orders to work on this weekend. And you see he's got some pretty good stuff, and his chunk of money here is, the stuff sells for a good price. So while I'm here, though, I just want to show you the weirdness. I said, maybe we can look at some weird stuff. How do I look at my favorites here? There is a favorites button and favorite shops. All right. So this is a weird one. This is my wife's nephew. I think that makes him my nephew, but let's go with my wife's nephew. So Josh likes to do things like find roadkill, and then he sells it. That's just exactly what I said. So look at this beaver skull. He finds this beaver skull and he cleans it up and he sells it for $21. Now, you want to talk about a low cost of goods sold. I think a lot of this is, in fact, roadkill or stuff that he's found. And here he's selling this stuff and shipping it. And look, people love it. He's got comments. People like his stuff. So you see, he's sold. Apparently, he's not the only one selling stuff like that. So you see all kinds of crazy products out there that are for sale. And I point this out because so many people I work with are acting as if they cannot find anything to sell. So here's his shop. If I can get back to his shop and seeing some of the things he sells. There's another one. What was the other one he had? Like a possum? Yes, somebody said this was a great possum head. I don't know. Here's a raccoon skull. Okay. I don't know why you want this. I don't know what you do with this, but people seem to like it. So, people are weird, and you contribute to their weirdness by selling them stuff that fits what they're weird about. So anyway, this is Etsy. So this is a great opportunity to just jump in there and throw some stuff up. Now we see Trent also has a actual website that's here. And so he's just now getting started putting this together. But here's the cool thing. He's putting this stuff together. He can build you all this stuff, but he's already building, and he's already a profitable business. All this is just, okay, now I'm trying to become more profitable. And again, what was the key is he has a garage full of equipment, and this is just what he does. Many people I work with, it's shocking the number of times I see people come up and they've spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money building websites and all this crazy stuff. And they've done it the hard way. So I work with a lot of technology people, and they will hard code websites, taking them months to do. And they think that's the way to do things. And that's just not the way to do things. So this is doing it on the cheap. All right. So start the easy way. I hope you get that message. Just start. That's the key. Etsy is a great place to do this. Another great place to do this, if you have a service business, is a site called Fiverr or Upwork. And again, there's tons of sites out there with lots of traffic that's already out there for you to do. So start the easy way. So I'm going to pull back, make sure I've got my website open here so I can note, so I'm keep up with what's going on. All right, so let's throw this over here and see if I can get back to where I was. Okay. All right, step 3. What we want to do is what we call do the work. Now, I don't want to kid anybody. You don't just throw a picture up on Etsy or something up on Fiverr or a course up on Udemy and, people just start throwing you money. I mean, it could happen, but things do happen slow. You kind of drizzle in money. So I was using Steven as an example earlier. He's made a couple of $100. So some people, it may be a really slow move. I'll show you some in a minute, but let's just kind of go through some of this stuff. So on Etsy, for instance, to publish a listing is 20 cents, not $20. And everything you sell makes you a 5%. They take a 5%. Same with Fiverr, except Fiverr costs you nothing to post. They make a little bit of money in doing that. Udemy has a great store, but they just split revenue 50-50. If you make $10, you get 5 and they get 5. And so I want to just pull this over here and just kind of show you. And I guess I'm asking if we're in the right space. So forgive me for the crazy stuff. Well, let me show you one, just as a bizarre one, since we said things are bizarre. So this is my daughter's site. This is the opposite example, but I just want to show you because we all think what she does is she's all about Shakespeare. So I would say, and I'm probably going to say it wrong, she's a Shakespeare historian. So she puts out a podcast and telling about the life of Shakespeare. And so she's interviewing Shakespeareans all over the world that are the top Shakespeare people that I don't know the names of, but she does. And she's all excited when she talks to them. But this is her passion. It's her gift. And so she's doing it. Now she's ahead of the game here of the kind of complex things because she's into the podcasting, and these things aren't heavily complex, but it's not where I would start. Where I would start is, let's go back over here to Raccoon Boy and go over here to Etsy. And I'm on my wife's Etsy store. So what we're going to do is go in. If you have an Etsy store, you can go over here and just go to Shop Manager. And we're just going to, you see here, and her and my sons have done an Etsy store, kind of just playing with it. They're not committed. If you've ever been in Etsy, you probably might have seen this, but notice the things that they got. This is a shop, and they got take a tour. And what Etsy wants you to do, they want you to be successful. They want this to work for you because they make money. All they do is own the platform. They don't own the product. So they will guide you through. And I don't know if my wife even messed with any of this stuff, or they just went in there and hacked their way around. I'm going to guess it's the latter, but I don't know that. But I'm on her store now because she gave me the login. I can do that. So let's go over here and look at the listings. I think they got a couple of things they listed. And I think if I remember right, they bought stuff at yard sales and just for the fun of it, threw them up there. And we've sold and shipped stuff. And with a high profit margin, I can say that. But I'm going to just show you, I want to put something for sale. So the first thing you notice here, to add a photo, and I hope I'm not talking down to anyone, but I just want to show, if you haven't seen this, this is how all of these sites work, is pretty straightforward. I'm going to add a photo of something I want to sell. So I took this just before we got started. We made a dartboard for, actually, we didn't make a dartboard. We have a dartboard for our basement, the man cave, and we made this wood background to keep, theoretically, to keep holes from being in the sheetrock. So it's just, it's a wood background for a dartboard. So there's my thumbnail, and I could put other photos up here if I wanted to. I could put a video up here. And so I'm going to say, I can go down here and say dartboard background. I don't know what you call this. Spell it. So who made it? I did. What is it? It's a finished product. And when did you make it? I'm going to make it to order. If you order one of these, we're going to ship it in your color and your size. How about that? So I'm going now under the categories. I'm going to put it's a game room activity. And I'm going to choose the primary color is brown. Most of these things I don't really care about but you can see if it's a holiday item, occasional item, renewal. Do I want to, I don't even know what this means. I want to keep the listing going. I think the listing costs 20 cents. And so a physical or digital product, it's a physical product that we're going to ship. And I'm going to say it's a dartboard base, so you do not put holes in your sheetrock. Like that. And fortunately, Etsy has typo corrections. All right. So anyway, so I'm doing all this. I can put tags on it. You can see I can put the materials on it, that it's wood. I want to price it. Let's just throw a price up here of $25. I've got a quantity of, unlimited. I'll make you these all day long. Right. So so I can do personalizations, but what we want to do is let's just publish it. Fill out the required fields in order to, so I haven't yet. Apparently you have to fill out all these other fields. They wanted to make sure. So let's do this as save as draft, because obviously I don't want to do that. It's not going to let me save it as a draft, but shipping price. I got to do the shipping. That's right. I forgot to tell you that the nice thing about this is it does the shipping for you. Calculate them for me. Origin zip code. This is all I need to do. Processing time. I will ship it within 1 to 3 days. United States. 6 mail classes. I'm going to save it. I don't know what that does for me. So apparently I'm not there yet. No, I don't want free shipping. All right. So I got to put so many pounds. Let's put 10 pounds. And let's say it's 18 by 24 by 1. Sure, that's not the case. So it's telling me a little bit about shipping. Now, I don't know if it's going to let me save it, but no, it's not. But I'm going to leave that there. Okay. But you see, really all I have to do is fill out these forms. And probably if you haven't used this, what you're going to be doing is taking like 30 minutes to fill this out, get the pictures you want, get things set up the way you want to do. But that's 30 minutes opposed to 3 months, which is I typically see in these kind of things. Let me jump over here and do another one on Fiverr. So another site. And this is a site I've played with a little bit. You see, I've made a whole $88 in here. I don't particularly, it's not my favorite site for doing things because we can make a lot more at our store. But it, showing people stuff, I decided to play with it. So if you go to Fiverr and just, if you want to buy any service, and this is great for services or consulting, especially small consulting. So you can buy voice animation, writing, digital marketing, all kinds of things. There was one on here that my sons and I were laughing at. There's a guy with long hair, looks like Jesus, and he had this thing he would sell you for $15. He would record a video message as Jesus for you, and for $15, and he had lots of buyers. I don't know where he is, so I won't bother trying to look him back up. But all kinds of things from logical to just nuts that's on here on Fiverr. So again, this is service-oriented activities. So you see in here things like I will fix an issue with your websites. So technical stuff. I will write resumes for you. I will do editing of documents for you. So I'm going to put something up here. So I say switch to selling. I've got a couple of gigs that I've played with up here, but I'm going to just, you can create a new gig. That's what he calls it. And say, I will, so let's pick a category. Let's pick business. Let's say I will be a data entry person. Now let's say I'll be a virtual assistant. All right. So I'm going to do your research for you. All right. So, and so we got things like choosing a language. So in this case, I don't know if it will let me type, but yeah, you got to actually scroll down and find English. And then I can pick an industry, that maybe I'm a specialization in. So maybe I am into the animals and pets. Maybe I used to work at a pet store and know something about that. So I can put a tag in here of pets. And I save and continue. Oh, I got to type something. And it just says what it wants you to do is I will. And I say, I will do pet product research. Save you time. How about that? Okay. Simple thing. And that's really what they're looking for. Something simple, something complete. Oh, they don't like periods. This drove me batty the first time I did it because they don't like, nothing's supposed to be grammatically correct. All right. So there's my offer. And so I can add extra services here, and then I can create basically what they try to do is get you to create 3 different offerings. This looks a little complicated, but let me just jump off of this and show you one that we did. So this is the one I was playing with. Let me go click and show you what it looks like once you edit it, and it makes more sense. So I said, so a lot of people come to me for career advice, for helping them find jobs. I will guide you to find a job you love and make more money. So you see, basically, I filled out all the same stuff that I did there. And the pricing is the chart that I was just on. I didn't bother filling it out because you see, I didn't have to type some stuff in. So there's 3 different packages, 75, 140, and 260. I would never do this stuff for this kind of money except to play with it, but this is where we are. So this was experimental. So finding a path. So you see, I've basically have things, I describe things differently. How many days will I deliver? And you see what Fiverr's trying to get me to do is finish filling this out so I will get more orders. They're trying to help me out, and you can tell I just kind of ignored them. So, but it was fun playing with. So you have description of services. And then we have requirements like I need the people to give me something before I can help them. And then oddly enough, I put this up here and I sold some. And so you can look at messages. People have, let's see, how can I look at messages? Just not messaging. Well, anyway, so people send me messages. Oh, here's the inbox. So people send me messages, and right now there's some guy in Bangladesh that's trying to come to work in the United States that wants me to help him get work here in the United States. I don't know how, you're reaching people all over the world doing these kind of things. So these are 2 of them. So any of the other websites I picked that were on there. So we look at Udemy. It's going to be similar. I won't bother going through that, but Udemy, Amazon, putting a product on Amazon's pretty simple, very simple. Putting a product on, if you've done anything on Craigslist, and so you might be thinking right now that this is not exactly the way to make money, right? That it doesn't really sound right. You can create your own websites all on the cheap. So here's a website on the cheap. So this is Madison. This is Trent. So let's see if Trent's down. Yeah, Trent, the guy with the woodworking. The other part of his garage is her workout equipment because she's like a workout nut. And so they were talking to me early on during the COVID times, and she wanted, let's see where it is. She wanted to create a book or ebook on how to eat right, fuel up the machine is what they call it, how to eat right for working up. So they're selling this book. But this website that she is on Wix.com. So even though she's got a real website, this cost her, I don't know what Wix costs, but it's very cheap. And maybe there's free options. I forget what it is, but you can get started for free. So Wix.com, and so it's not your high power, heavy duty website, but it allows her to get out there. And right now she's developing a clothing line for sports clothing, things like that, for workout clothing, I guess for women, if I had to guess. So she's selling product and she's doing this, and it was all, again, a part of the experiment of the COVID times. For her to do this kind of thing. I think she's also doing consulting, but that's not so much over the web, although it could be. All right. So let's jump over here and say if we can make this guy work. All right. So think about this on step 4. I want you to think about action. Somebody I remember a long time told me this action TNT. He had it written on his wall. Stands for action. I had to ask. Stands for action today, not tomorrow. Because most of us, what we do is we sit here and think about things, and some other jokers over there throwing something up on Etsy or putting a product together. My daughter I was showing earlier, she will put a product together, and her stuff is more complicated, but she will do stuff very quickly and get it out there and try stuff. Some of it doesn't work, some of it does, but you don't know until you put it out there. And it's so easy these days to put products out there on the market. So starting small, that's fine. It's just a thing of just starting. People make real money on these sites. People are always asking me, do they make any money? So this is on Fiverr. There's just some examples. So this guy had written me, says, I'm by no means the highest, but I've been very satisfied. It took about 4 months to get some traction, but I have lots of months that range between $1,500 and $2,500. Now he has a shop that does what he does, sells on Fiverr. He has a local office. And so Fiverr is supplemental income for what he does locally. So but his Fiverr revenue here on many months, he doesn't say all, is this. And he's not as he says, he's not the highest earner on Fiverr. So there's people on Fiverr making, I realize it's supposed to be a $5 thing, but there's people making a lot of money. The top earners on Fiverr are what I've researched anyway, making about $50,000 a month in revenue from Fiverr. Here's an example of an Etsy. Again, this is not the top Etsy store, but they're showing this is a Gold Swan, and I'm assuming they're still there, but there's a whole list of Etsy stores that I saw and what they were making. This store's been up for a little while, and you see they have 400,000 plus sales and averaging 130 days in sales. So they're shipping, I'm guessing, jewelry supplies, because it's what it says. I'm not sure what a jewelry supply is, but that's what they sell. We could go check them out. So this is a first step. By the way, on Udemy, I know there's people that are well into $1 million on Udemy, and there's people making, there's probably some people making nothing, but probably a couple $100 a month. And people that are growing things in that order. All right. So this is a first step. So as you get going, I can just kind of want to show you a lot of people will laugh at these starts, but Deborah is one that kind of started really slow, and just showing some of the things that she's done I find one thing about entrepreneurs is once you start doing stuff, you keep experimenting. Deborah is a resume person. That's when I first met her. She wanted to get a resume business going because people kept asking her to write resumes. She had a full-time job. And so she started this website called the Virtual Resume Coach. I think this is like a Wix.com. I don't think this is a big giant website. I think it's a very simple one. But I remember I was working with her. She created this little thing to help people do websites, and it was good. She was making a little money, had her day job. And I think it was about 3 months later, she was like, I got to quit my day job because this is so busy. And she started making more money doing this. But she's not quite the person who just likes to hang out. She kind of quit doing this. I don't think she's doing it anymore. What she's big into is pugs. So if you're a pug person, you might can relate to her. She built or made this product called the Pug Trough, or the Fluff Trough, I think is what it's called. So that's her website. Again, this website is a Shopify site. Again, it's like filling out Facebook. It's very similar to what I've shown you. There's no coding involved. This site does cost about $25 a month. So she's spending some money, but it makes her store, I was supposed to go here. It makes her store really easy. Fluff Trough. So you can see that she's got that's her front page. She's got these customers that have bought product from her. This gives your dog better posture, less mess, better digestion. Well, I don't even get this at all. Why do I need this? But she is a pet person. So we think about the shop. Here's what she's got. She designed and made and had this product made, and she's showing her shipping them all to her house. So she's got all this fancy stuff. Now, all the fancy stuff you see going on here is Shopify doing this for her. So she just uploads pictures and Shopify does the work. So she's got these products. And so if you're looking for a specialized dog product, then there's her dog, whose name is Pork Chop, who is her inspiration for this entire business. And I guess it's making her money. Oh, there's a picture of her unloading the products coming to her house. So, yeah, a little bit of an operation. So, but she's grown into this as she keeps doing things. And this is obviously a different kind of business because she's actually manufacturing now. So the cool thing, though, is just getting started gets you somewhere. So most of you showed up today, at least the people I talked to that were showing up today, because you wanted to make money online. I know a lot of people want to make money online in the future. Sometimes people want to make money online because they want to quit their day job. But whatever your motivations were for doing this. So extra income, doing something fun. And so the question here is, what's holding you back? What's going on today that's keeping you from doing something? What I want to do is to show you to get something to do to get started. So I'm going to just open up, ask our friends over here at the library if I can get this crazy thing pulled away. Actually, I don't even need to do that. What I need to do is go do this like I promised you I would do. Okay. Do we have any questions or anything we need to address? I don't know if Bryce, you're still with us or not.
Yeah, I am. Let's see. I think Octavia had a question. Consulting seems less responsive to online platforms. Is it my imagination?
Consulting seems less responsive. I would say things like Fiverr and Upwork. I don't know if you're familiar with Upwork. I did not show Upwork today. It's a little heavier lift, but I have friends of mine that are consultants. And I guess it depends a little bit on what we talk about consultants, but they make their entire living on Upwork. So I would probably need a little more context, but I would think there is a way to do that.
Okay. If people want to ask questions, they just put them in the comments and Dr. Callahan answer them. And I would like you to address something that I've heard you go over it before. And someone just put it in there. Talk about business licensing. I remember that we hosted you at the library and you discussed that, that you might not actually need a business license to start. And a lot of people are assuming that they have to have one to start a business.
Yeah, we don't have our business, online business has no business license. Now, I live in the city of Hoover and you're in Hoover, so probably tomorrow I will get a letter saying I should have a business license. If you go and ask for a business license, they will be happy to sell you one for anything. But generally, the online businesses, most people don't. What you're finding the business license are geared toward is storefronts. Generally, that's where the heavy business license activity happens. So if I was to start something tomorrow, I wouldn't worry about it. For instance, we have a real estate business that we own real estate in different cities. And I'm not suggesting you skip out on license you owe, because this is the way it happens. We didn't have a business license in the city, and they sent us an email. And they didn't send us an email. They sent us a mail and said, hey, you don't have a business license for the property you own in the city, and you didn't have one last year, and here's your penalty. I think my penalty was $10. And please fill up for this business license. And we did. We filled out the form, got the business license, and every year we mail them money, and they're happy. There's some people that, depending on what you're going to do, but again, that was a physical presence business. And usually when I'm finding the cities and the counties and the states, but usually it's the cities, it's physical presence.
Okay. All right. What are your thoughts on actually spending money on marketing as far as Facebook? I think most people are more open to spending money on Facebook as far as marketing as opposed to Twitter. I'm not so sure about Instagram. I don't know. I think there's a setup where you can do it that way. But what are your thoughts on that?
I like spending on Facebook. Facebook is it's easy, and Mark Zuckerberg needs more money, so it's a mercy ministry. And really in Facebook and Twitter and any of those other platforms, the only way you're going to get seen as a business is spend money. Their algorithms are set up so you might get a little bit of traffic, like the Scrunchy. He did not do a Facebook ad. Had he done a Facebook ad, he would have sold more product, and he knows that, and he probably will do a Facebook. He just sold it to people he knew on his Facebook channel. And if we all been on Facebook, we know that only a certain percent. I post something and only a certain percentage of people see it. So if I'm going to spend money, generally Facebook is the easiest place. It's easy to set up an ad. It's you can put a limit of, hey, I'm not going to spend more than $5 a day on the ad. So it's I would say it's a no-brainer, but it's simple. Google ads are a little more challenging to do, and but those kind of ads I think are, if I'm going to advertise, that's where I'm going to be. Now the nice thing about being on a Fiverr or a Udemy or something like that is you don't really have to advertise. They're doing it for you, and you can. And what I didn't show you, you can be on what the heck, which one we were on? Etsy. I know on Etsy you can buy ads internal to Etsy, and you can buy ads internal. So you can buy ads inside the platform.
Okay, we have a question that came in. What's the best way to make money with a podcast?
What's the best way to make money with a podcast? Well, this is great because I see Cassidy is on here. She can't really answer, but that's what she is after. So I'll tell you what she tells me. Now I have a podcast, but my podcast is not a revenue generating podcast it just hasn't ever started to do that. What Cassidy does is she sells ad space. So for a small podcast that's growing, is selling ad space. So she's in the Shakespeare business. So she is, and I forget who she was selling ads to, but it was somebody that was related to Shakespeare, or historian, and they were selling products or books in that space, and they were giving her advertisement, and so they just paid a regular thing. Once you get a lot of traffic, and it's a lot easier. If you listen to podcasts, a lot of people, and I do this some on mine, is I mention products. So if I say, hey, go to my website or go to this website and order something, and you can type Dale and get a discount. And by that, what happens? So if I send them to your website, Bryce, and say, and me and you've got a deal, what's kind of an affiliate deal, then when they type Bryce, you send me money. You send me 50%, or you send me $10 or whatever. And so that's, we see a lot of people that's not true of just podcasts, but that's true of websites. And so if I look at, some of you may be familiar with Pat Flynn, Smart Passive Income, who is a popular business podcast. Most of his money is made from just doing exactly what I just said.
We have another question, but you just hit on something I just would like you to explore a little bit longer, is the affiliate. I think you can be an affiliate even for Amazon, can you not?
Correct. You can be affiliate for Amazon. Now, Amazon has changed their rules. If you are selling, for instance, if you have a blog, or if you're even posting on Facebook, I think you could do this, and you're a big reader or whatever it is on Amazon, and you post, you can get an affiliate link, which means if I click on your link and go to Amazon, and you now get money. Even if I don't buy your product, if I click over and buy something else like, tennis shoes, and do that. So a friend of mine, he has a blog, and he's one of these guys that blogs about anything, and he was fixing his dishwasher. His dishwasher was leaking, and he had to buy this part for the dishwasher, and he found the best part on Amazon. So he wrote a blog post on how to fix this dishwasher problem and put the link to this, and it was like a $40 part, I think. And so he was telling me, I'm making money. I got a lot of traffic because it's a interesting blog post, because a lot of people had this problem with this type of dishwasher, and Amazon's sending me money for me sending them to buy their product. So a lot of companies, especially online companies, even small online companies, have affiliate relationships. We sell on our so my point being, look everywhere. If you're buying products and services and you like something from somebody, ask them if they have an affiliate. We sell on our homeschool product site. We have a link to a girl in California who has a business who does ACT, SAT prep. And so every time we send somebody over there and go, she mails us a check. or she actually mails us a check once a month, but she mails us a check for all the sales that we get.
Okay, we had another question. If I don't want to use my name on Fiverr, Etsy, and use a fun name, do I need to do anything official, trademark, or register the business name?
I would not. I would think you're overthinking that. For beginners, trademark is expensive, and I trademark something only if there's a lot of revenue involved. So I wouldn't. I mean, obviously, you're going to, if you go into Fiverr and you create a fun name, like, if I was going to do resumes for people, I'm gonna call it Mr. Resume Guy. On the back end, you do have to give your legal name and all, because they're going to pay you, and you actually fill out a form online that's the IRS 1099. So when they pay you, you need to report it on your taxes. And most of these platforms are the same way. So whatever you call yourself in public, that's fine. But you don't really need a business either, because you could just do it under your own name. Your own name. They'll need your social security number because it is illegal. I mean, they are filing taxes and tracking that. But I wouldn't worry about the business name, because I don't think that's that's. And I think of what you're saying. I wouldn't worry about a trademark from the business name, because I don't think that's really a big issue. If you start selling thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of product, then you think about that. That's one place I see people waste a lot of money, is they go get all these business license, they go get all these LLCs, they do trademarks, some of them do patents before they've sold a product. There's places for that if you're doing a venture capital business, but that's a whole different animal.
Okay. What do you think, is email marketing still a strong medium or a venue to get your message out? Do you still think catching people's emails and being in their inbox to promote something still a valid way to sell?
It's number one. It's your number one goal if you're going to do that. That's why Fiverr, Udemy, and all these things are really, really finicky if you start putting your email on there to people, because they control the traffic. So if I was offering resume services on Fiverr and it was starting to be successful, I would want to find ways to drive them to my own website without violating Fiverr's policy, because I need their emails. That's the number. I mean, all these things above, when people do Facebook ads, the goal. So a lot of businesses, what they'll do in Facebook is, and we all see this. If you have a Facebook account, you've done this. You see this cool little ad that Sally's giving away some special recipe. She's giving it away for free, and you go over there and you got to put in your email and you get the recipe. The reason she spent money on that ad was to get your email, because Facebook isn't a great place to sell things directly. People aren't usually going to click on something and spend money, but it is a great place to, what we call, developing a relationship with a customer. You do that, you get their email. So it's still number one. It's better than texting. It's better than it's better than Facebook, any of those other things. Email is killer. We didn't talk about that today, but that is obviously that's kind of your next step.
And you can create a free account on Aweber, and the other one's called, I forgot I think you've suggested it before and I can't recall the name, but a lot of those email services are free if you just hit below a certain number, correct?
Yeah. There's Aweber, and you made me forget the other one too. But there's another one that's very popular. So if you look at email services,
MailChimp.
Yeah. So a friend of mine.
Your daughter is on task, right?
Okay, awesome. MailChimp is free. MailChimp is free up to a number of users. So a friend of mine is kind of in that dilemma. He's, I think, up to 1,000 emails. I may have that number wrong, but you can only send so many emails out. Once your list, the people that you got their email, once it gets bigger, you start paying for it. But that's okay. it's still relatively inexpensive. And I think what Cassidy uses she doesn't use any one of them. She uses one that's, I'm going to guess it's $70 a month. It's a little more expensive. MailChimp, I think to start at might be $20 a month. But that's once you hit 1,000, so once you're emailing people enough, because in business, the whole key is developing relationships with people. And you're not just spamming people, you're sending emails they want to think about. We all get emails that we just hit delete on, and that's kind of spam. But we also all get emails, and I think about this for what it is for you. Whose Facebook messages, whose email messages, when you see them, do you open them and you're kind of glad to see them because what have they got on sale this day? I want to see what they're selling me. That's who you want to be. You want the people on your email list that like what you're selling, that like the things that you're doing to serve them, and they're going to buy from you. And so email is absolutely number one. Cassidy's saying on here, ConvertKit, she pays $29 a month. So I was wrong. Once again, she's correcting me.
Yeah, I've had been on people's email list, and there's been a few that email every day. And before I knew it, I was invested with this person, and I didn't know this person, but I had a relationship with them. And so, I think that's one of the things that you teach is, business is about relationships and forming that relationship, and email is a good way to do that. So would you suggest if people are dead set on creating a website, Wix would be the best choice, or do you think WordPress is too complicated when people first start out, or what is your?
If you want a website and it's not a store, like if you're looking for a store where you're going to click and buy something, I tend to like Shopify. Now the downside of Shopify is number one. Matter of fact, is a stock. It's a great stock to buy too because they're a large company. But Shopify, the downside is you're going to get a URL. You're going to get a mycompany.com, and you have to drive the traffic to it. If you get a Wix, you have to drive the traffic to it. I like Shopify though for products because it has a really great storefront. It does the transactions for you. It takes care of the money, so it does a really great job. We actually used to use a Shopify type tool in our business, and it was a good tool. We just decided for other reasons to get out of it. The Wix, a lot of people do Wix, but people tend to outgrow Wix very quickly. The number one is WordPress. So if you look at a lot of the stores out there, we use WordPress. But if I was just selling and shipping product, I would not use WordPress. Shopify would be the way to go. It's just so much easier. It's actually cheaper than what we're using. But businesses get more complicated. And by the way, that's the way it always is. You're always growing. When I say take action, TNT, once you start selling something, some people, there's the person that calls me and they're disappointed because they only made $8 last month. Well, this is not even worth my time. They don't, you got to start somewhere. Then there's the other person who calls me and they made $8 last month, and they're like, somebody actually bought something I made. This is awesome. And so it clicks something. So I know a guy like that, and he got an order, and that was it. He was off and running. That was the only encouragement he needed to build his business, and now he's got a big giant business. So that's how things work, right? You start slow, get out there and do something.
One of the things that stuck with me from one of your classes, and if you could just talk about it just for a little while, is I think your homeschooling product, you had mentioned during one of your classes, when you first started, it wasn't like a fancy booklet. I think it was just, more of it didn't have like a polished look to it. You had just created a product, and, people were buying the product, not the glossy image, or they didn't have to spend a lot of money creating like a booklet. I think maybe you Xerox the pages on your first product, if I remember correctly. And I think people sometimes think they have to have or competing with some kind of, ideal of some kind of, product that's finely tuned or finely made. When they first start out doing, like informational products.
Yes. Well, yeah, I can do better. Let me show you. We actually have a post. I don't. It may have been a podcast episode that we did this. I am not sure. I am sharing the screen. So this is on my site. This is dalecallahan.com/171. Our ugly startup story. It's not glamorous. So we did this. So this, just to give you a case, we were selling DVDs. This little product I'm showing on the screen right here is how it shipped. So we would take these DVD cases. We bought them at Sam's. The DVDs were bought at Sam's, and we bought a little DVD printer. It was a painful process for us, or for me. I was the guy, by the way, that said, I used to get a text message that we sold something, and I would say, we sold something, we got to ship it. I was that guy that was like, this isn't worth my time. And my wife was like, somebody's just sent you money and you're fussing about it. So I was that guy, so I understand it. So, but this is what it looked like, so when we first started, and I don't know if we have pictures now. No, there's our first website. We took the website, we basically found somebody else's website, took their words off of it. I mean, it's not stealing, it was just using their template because we were too lazy to create one of our own. So this is where we started, and let's see if we got pictures of the. No, we don't. Well, if you go to our website now, the everything is packaged. As a matter of fact, a publisher has taken it over. Everything looks much better. But the problem is, if we would have tried to make this product right here look as fancy as it looks today, or is nice and packaged and shrink wrapped and all that fancy stuff, we would have been forever getting it done, because we would have been looking at let's see if I can show you what it looks like. So if I can actually get to one of these that actually, whoop, that's not going to be it. So if we look at a shrink, well, we actually don't even sell the DVDs anymore. So it's a new world. Let's see if we still have some DVDs the publisher does on this one, though, and we can see. Let's see, do we? I guess I'm telling. No, it's embedded in the site. But we sell DVDs. The publisher packages them. Everything looks much nicer, and it's graphic artists are doing it. But had we started there, we would still be designing the graphic art. It would just. I mean, that's just the way it is. I have seen people spend 6 months doing a logo. I'm like, what are you doing? You're the key is in business. If you watch Shark Tank is a really good example. When these guys get up there and pitch their ideas, sometimes they've made money, sometimes they're really brand new ideas. Is the question they always ask is, how much have you sold? And that's the key, is start selling something. And the quote I always love is by the Reid Hoffman, I think his name, by the founder of LinkedIn, that says the comment, if you're not embarrassed by your first products, you waited too late to start. That's a paraphrase, but I think that's at least I like it because that fits me, because, we're embarrassed. Where we used to be embarrassed, I decided to start showing it off. All that stuff we still have some of that stuff hidden back there in the back rooms. And, you know what? When you show people a finished product, it's just like I don't use examples anymore or I try not to use examples of clients I have that are making millions, because it just seems like such a leap. For the average Joe out there, it says, well, that's impossible for me. But to get somebody making, $2,500 a month, but even that one's pretty big for a lot of people. So that's why we're talking now. Let's just start making money roll in, because if you can make money roll in doing something, if you can get money rolling in, then you just do more of it, and you get creative and you learn to do things, and you can increase it. That's what business is. It's just once you got real customers, once you got people paying you, then you got people listening to you. And you got, more importantly, you got people that you can listen to.
So the key is just to start and just to learn and to grow and not expect to have a really polished presence or even a polished product when you first start. Well, unless you're selling on Etsy and you want it to look nice. But a lot of the stuff is, some of the informational stuff. I know a guy that sells a marketing or an email marketing newsletter for, I think it's $100 a pop, and all he does is Xerox the sheets, staple them together, and people pay him because he's an expert in that niche, and they want the information. They don't care how it's delivered. They just want the information. Let's see, we have a couple of more minutes. Is there anybody want to ask Dr. Callahan any more questions about businesses or any type of marketing? Let's see. Okay, well, Dr. Callahan, we really appreciate you taking your time out and sharing. We had a good turnout tonight. I wanted to make sure that people had a way to contact you and to visit your website. If you could put that back on the screen for people.
Yes, once again, I forgot to do it. Let me do that. Let me hunt that back down. It is somewhere embedded in here. All right. Nope, that is not it.
Let's see. Well, I do know, just if you just Google Dr. Dale Callahan, a company of one, that you will bring up your podcast. And I'd like to encourage people that are tonight. He's got a great podcast.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to. Yeah, I've shut down my PowerPoint and now everything's all confused. But yeah, that's the. If you just Google my name, you should be able to find our my webinar site and everything. So
there were a couple of more questions. How do you drive people to your website?
I'm gonna take that's just a generic from anybody's website. And that is the trouble. That is your trouble. That is marketing. So, I mean, I would be very, just looking at where things are today. There's a bazillion websites out there. You're basically sitting out there in a la land and not going to be found. There's people to do SEO, traffic, keywords, that kind of stuff helps. Talking about your product a lot. So using the words, describing your product, thinking about what it is a person would search in Google for, and using those words. Right? Like if I'm selling watches, let's say I'm selling Apple watches on my site. And so I've got a simple site, I'm selling Apple watches. Then I don't want to get fancy and call them timepieces. I want to say Apple watches, and I want to and then say it a lot on the site. And of course, there's a billion other sites that are saying Apple watches. So you want to do some common sense stuff, but then you just think about good old networking, just getting your friends, asking them to share it on Facebook. You can go do Facebook ads. And that's a great way to start too. But I like starting at free. And let's just see if I can't get some people to come to my site. Check it out, give me feedback, sign up on my email list. And it's always good, like Cassidy is using ConvertKit, but using one of these mail things. And we all seen it. You go to a website, they're going to give us something for free in exchange for our email. If you create a site, it can be slow. It can, grow slow. The old thing that we see, and so what you will find Cassidy doing is you constantly put out content. And this is the very popular process, is every week, maybe every day, you're sharing content with people. And so you're putting out a blog post, putting out something, putting out photos, whatever it is. Google likes that. And it keeps your site fresh and keeps things going. So that's a good way to do it. But the days of you create a website and then suddenly you get a whole bunch of people showing up, that just doesn't happen that way anymore. It can be a slow grow. So be patient and be consistent. My friends that are kind of in the web business experts, they would say, if you're out there blogging or podcasting consistently, which means you get a schedule every Wednesday at 2, your blog or your podcast or your YouTube video or whatever you're doing goes out consistently, and you're talking about something in your space, your domain, then it takes about 2 years to start to get traction. And a lot of people hear that and they're like, I'm out. And or you get in about 18 months and I'm out. And it may not be 2 years, it may be longer for your stuff. It may be a little bit shorter. But if you go look at any YouTube channel that's really popular and you're thinking, wow, these guys are doing some awesome stuff. And that's intimidating because they got good cameras and they got stuff like that, and we feel like we got to do that. But no, go back and look at their early stuff. They were filming with their iPhone, but they were consistent. Their stuff got better and better and better over time. And this is true of all of them. Some of them actually go back on the YouTubers. I know they go back and make fun of their early stuff. I was listening to a podcaster the other day, and she was making fun of her early. She was playing some of her first episodes and how embarrassed she was in them, but she kept showing up day after day after day.
Okay, and let's see, Connor, can you post his website? Your assistant, Cassidy, posted in your chat. It's the URL, and it's www.dalecallahan.com. And so we really appreciate you spending time with us, Dr. Callahan. The website that I just said is a way that you can reach Dr. Callahan if you have any questions. And hopefully we can have him back here soon. I think these virtual programs are going to be the way that we sort of reach people now until we get the other figured out. And I just want to remind people that next Tuesday, we're having another one, Financial Planning in the Midst of a Crisis. And that's going to start at the same time at 6:30. And we're going to send out some links for those this weekend. But again, thank you, Dr. Callahan. That was a great program, and we really appreciate it. And we appreciate everyone logging in and spending some time with us. Okay?
Yep.
Thanks.